welcome to Two Cooks in the Kitchen. Have I mentioned that I like crab? Crab week continues. One of the things that I really like to make with crab, when I have fresh crab, is gumbo. It's just a wonderful use of crab. It's not one of Kelly's favorite things. It's a little too swampy tasting for her, I think. But we are going to make a batch of gumbo. And gumbo is going to start with a roux. And this is the time when you really want the roux to be dark. You want to cook the flour for a long time and get it to be about the color of these cabinets, maybe, or even darker. Maybe more of a mahogany color. So I am just going to take 1/3 cup of bacon fat. And this is why you save your bacon fat. Moments like this. And I'm going to, this and 1/2 cup of flour. And I'm going to cook them together, whisking quite frequently, like almost constantly, for anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour until I get the color that I want. And you don't want to rush this. You don't want to burn the flour. So once the bacon fat melts, I'll turn the heat down a little, and we'll get this going, get this roux going. All right, so it's starting to cook now. You can see the a whisk is the implement of choice for this because it keeps it from getting lumpy. And it really does the job of stirring really well. So I'm going to turn the heat down and we're just going to cook this for a long time. Here's the color after about 20 minutes. It still has quite a ways to go. Here's 30 minutes. Pretty good. I'm going to give this probably another 10. Our roux has been cooking along here for about 40 minutes. Look at the beautiful dark color of that roux. I'm going to take it off the heat. And this pan holds heat pretty well, so I'm going to give it a couple of stirs from time to time here, just so it doesn't burn. And in the meantime, we are going to the food processor. I have here 1/2 an onion that I've chunked up, a couple of ribs of celery, and 1/2 of a bell pepper, and I'm using a red bell pepper because I don't care for green bell pepper. Green would be much more traditional. And 2 large cloves of garlic, and I've got 1 dried chipotle. And I'm just going to smoke all this up. That's going to be pretty good. Ooh. And I am going to put this into my roux. And then we're going to put this back on the burner and let this simmer for 15 minutes or so. Along with 1/2 an andouille sausage, which I've cut into thin slices. And we'll get all this cooking. Not too high. Still don't need to burn anything. The vegetables will add a little more moisture to this, but it didn't seem to be super wet. And while that is cooking, that's pretty low, that's good. We are going to, now I really could have made the roux in a smaller pan. I didn't.
You don't do things like that.
I used my best pan. I'm going to use about 3 cups of beef broth. I have 4 cups here in case I need to add more later, but what I'm going to do is get this to a boil, and then I'm going to put the roux into the boiling broth. But that'll all come in a few minutes. So this stuff we're just trying to get the veggies cooked a little bit and soften them up. So we're going to call that good, and the bone broth is boiling. So I'll come over here. I made this bone broth this week. It cooked for 48 hours. We didn't have any, and I needed it, so off we went. And now, oh boy, to get this really mixed in properly, it needs to be whisked. And
can't get a good view.
No, we'll get it in a minute here. We don't want clumps and lumps, except for the sausage. So a whisk is the way to go. And this will add the thickening power of that roux to all that lovely bone broth. It's going to make a nice mixture. And then into this, we're going to add a tablespoon of sugar. I'm going to turn that down. Half a tablespoon of Cajun spice. We make here ourselves. About half a teaspoon of salt. I've got 4 ounces of tomato sauce. And I'm going to use these diced tomatoes because I didn't want to peel the one fresh tomato that we have. So I'm just going to use half a can. So it's a 14-ounce can, so I'm looking for about 7 ounces. Doesn't have to be exact. Oops, too much. And I've got 2 bay leaves. A little bit of dried thyme. Let's say again about a half a teaspoon. And a little splash of hot sauce. This is Makoto hot sauce made here. There's a video for that. So just a little splash. We don't.
You can add more when you eat it.
Yeah. Make this so Kelly can eat it. Otherwise, I'd be putting some other, maybe even a little habanero in here. Okay, so we are going to let this simmer for 45 minutes. And yeah, it's simmering, so I think it's good. And we'll come back when it's ready for some filet powder. Right, so our flavors have been marrying here for 45 minutes or so. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of filet powder. And that gives it that gumbo smell right there. This is going to be what makes it a little swampy tasting for Kelly.
I just don't really like it.
We will, you can add more filet powder towards the end of this process, but I think we won't. And then in the meantime, so we're going to cook that filet in there for 15 minutes. And in the meantime, I've got 2 tablespoons or so of bacon fat in a smaller pan. And I'm going to cook the okra for 15 minutes. And to this, I'm going to add slimy stuff. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of vinegar.
You got rainbows on you.
If I can get it open. So this will get this okra into shape. Once it's cooked, I'm going to rinse it because I don't really like okra slime. Not very traditional of me, I know. Okay, so we'll give this 15 minutes and come back. Okra's been cooking along here. It seems like it's done. I'm going to put it in the strainer. And I'm going to rinse it. And this is a totally optional step, but I really think it makes the end result better. Just knocks the slime off the okra. And then we'll just go into our pot of gumbo. We'll stir that in. We're going to let this cook for a few minutes before we add our seafood and our Worcestershire sauce. So we'll come back. Okra's had a little while to marry with all this stuff. I've got here 1 pound of shrimp. It'd be nice if these were fresh Gulf shrimp, but they're not. And I've cut the shrimp. These are pretty large ones. I've cut them into thirds, just so they're bite-sized. And then I've got about a half a pound of crab that I've shredded. And 1 crab yields about a half pound of crab meat. So this is meat of 1 crab, approximately. And we're just going to mix this in. And this stew is going to cook along for about an hour more, and it's going to be ready to eat. And I'll tell you, it's just tasting really delicious. It's just going to be lovely. And we're going to make some cornbread to go with it. And we've tried a few things. Oh, here's a tablespoon of Worcestershire. And that's everything that goes in here. Now we've tried to make cornbread from scratch, and it didn't come out very good. We've tried several different recipes, but here we have Krusty's gluten-free honey cornbread, and it works. It's really good. So that's a recommendable product right there. All right, so we're gonna come back when it's time to serve this up, and we'll see what we've made. All right, here we go. We have gumbo and cornbread. Let's just see what we have done here. I added a lot of hot sauce to mine because I really like it spicy. Okay, that's really, really good. It's that thick, earthy New Orleans gumbo that it should be. It's totally delicious. It's got the seafood in there. This is just a great meal. So, thanks for watching Two Cooks in the Kitchen. Subscribe to our channel and you'll see more of our nonsense. And we'll see you next time.